Hi everyone, welcome to Denman's Den. I'm Kathy Denman, and I'm so happy to have you join me today, which, by the way, happens to be Saturday, May the 2nd, 2026. Today, I'm bringing a reflection to you that is titled, How to Stay Calm When the World is Stormy. A few months back, I explored with you what peace is and how it is built within us in a broadcast titled Peace, What Is It, and How We Find It and Keep It. If you have not listened to that one, I will include the link along with this broadcast so that you will have more of a foundation for what you will hear today, because some of what I presented in that broadcast about 4 months ago now, I have used as a foundation for what I'll be sharing today. And since that video 4 months ago, many of you have reached out with a deeper question. Not just what is peace, but how do we actually live it right now when the world feels so uncertain and full of pain? And lately I've been hearing this question, it seems like everywhere, from friends, from neighbors, even from my own family. And so I decided that I would go ahead and continue on what I started a few months back and talk to you about how to stay calm and at peace when the world is stormy. We are witnessing events around the world, in places like Ukraine, Iran, and in our own nation of the United States of America. Events that are complex, polarizing, and deeply painful. What we know is that lives have been lost, including the lives of children. We know and can see suffering in many places, and often borne by ordinary people who have little voice in the decisions that shape their lives. And when that happens, the question is no longer only political. It becomes profoundly human. There is confusion. There is fear. There is also anger. And while there are many voices trying to tell us what to think, there are far fewer helping us to understand how to live in a time like this. So today, I want to focus on that. How to live in these difficult times. Living in peace in the midst of a time of conflict, pain, and uncertainty. We are living in a time that feels tense and unsettled. There's a constant stream of information, much of it conflicting, much of it distorted by bias and prejudice, much of it spreading falsehoods or a completely false narrative, much of it emotionally charged. And in moments like this, something very human happens. We begin to react. We react to headlines We react to conversations. We react to distortions and falsehoods. We react to the angry words and tone that we hear. We react to the anxiety and fear all around us and its accompanying uncertainty. And before we realize it, our reactions begin shaping our own thoughts, shaping our own words, and the manner in which we speak them, and even shaping the way we see one another. In my first reflection on peace, I shared something both simple and profound. And I believe it is even more important and relevant now in light of recent events, as well as the increasingly polarizing tone and rhetoric of political discourse. Peace happens in responding to life, not reacting to it. A reaction. It's immediate. It's emotional. It often comes from fear or anger. A response. It's something we choose. It is thoughtful. It is grounded. It creates space between what we feel and what we say, and consequently, what we do. And in these difficult and challenging times, that space becomes one of the most important things we have. The first step in responding to life is what, in my first reflection on peace, I called the sacred pause. Before we speak, before we act, before we form an opinion, we pause. Even a few seconds can change everything. A breath or two, a few moments of quiet, a simple decision not to react immediately. That pause creates space. And in that space, we begin to move from reaction to response. The second step is learning to separate what we feel from what we say and what we do. It is completely natural to feel fear, to feel anger, to feel anxiety, and to feel confusion when the world is full of conflict and suffering, as it is right now. Our feelings are not wrong. They are normal and natural. They are human. But we are not our feelings. When we identify ourselves completely with our feelings, we act on them as soon as we feel them. We react. A reaction takes a feeling and turns it into words and behavior immediately. A response allows us to hold the feeling for a few moments, even if what we feel causes us discomfort. A response allows us a few moments to understand what we are feeling and why we are feeling it. And then it provides the space for us to choose what we say and do with it. That choice is where peace becomes more than just a state of being within us. It now becomes a peace we begin sharing with others. The third step is to guard what we take into ourselves, into our minds. What we allow into our minds shapes who we become. If we constantly feed on outrage, we will live in outrage. If we regularly feed on conflict, we will live in conflict. If we continuously absorb fear, we will live in fear. Guarding our minds means being intentional about what we allow ourselves to listen to read, and to watch. It means asking, is what I am taking in helping me to become the person I truly am, the person I am called to be? Because what fills the mind eventually shapes the heart and the way we live in the world. There is a teaching of Jesus that speaks to this, that it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. And perhaps that reminds us that what we allow to fill our minds and our hearts will eventually shape not only what we say, but how we live and how we treat one another. The fourth step is to put aside judgment. In times of tension, fear, and anger, it becomes very easy to form quick conclusions about other people. And once we do that, we begin to label them. We reduce a person to a single word, a single opinion, a single position. Liberal, conservative, believer, unbeliever, smart, stupid, foolish, wise. When we do this, we truly stop seeing the person. We only see the box in which we put them. The moment we reduce a person to a label, we lose our ability to see their humanity. Responding to life, it asks something different of us. It asks us to resist the need to reduce people to a label or a single point of view. Because no human being is ever just one thing. We are all the result of many things, and we carry all of those things as a part of who we are for our whole lives. There is an openness that characterizes being someone who responds to life. They are open to waiting through a few moments of discomfort, open to sitting with a feeling for a few moments, open to intentional consideration of what they allow into their inner being, and open to not rushing to judgment of others. Remaining open does not mean we agree with everything. It means we choose not to close ourselves off with a reaction, and not to harden our hearts with a rush to judgment, and not lose our ability to see the humanity in others. Peace is not something we wait for the world to give us. It is something we build within ourselves, and in responding to all that life brings to us, we then carry peace into the world. Especially when the world feels confusing, unsteady, and conflict-laden, we may not be able to control what is happening around us. But we can choose how we meet what the world brings to us. We can react, or we can respond. And we can choose whether we hold on to our humanity or slowly give it away. We live in a time of conflict. We live in a world full of suffering. It is a time that encourages quick judgments and easy labels. It is a world whose suffering invites rapid reactions, lest the suffering come too close to personal experience. But peace asks something more of us, something difficult. It asks us to keep seeing people, even when it would be easier not to. It asks us to stay present in others' humanity, in the midst of our own humanity, even when it causes us discomfort, and yes, even pain. And in that choice to respond, we begin to shape not only our own lives, but to actually bring peace to others. And in so doing, we begin to shape the kind of world we are helping to create. Thank you for joining me today. I'm grateful that you came into Denman's Den and sat with me for a while and considered peace with me again. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and please offer your comments in the comments section below the video so that I can know how you experienced this reflection today and whether or not it made a difference, however small, in your life. So please do like and subscribe if you wish, and be sure to leave a comment. Once again, I thank you for joining me today. And until next time, listen for the wind.